Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Lund. I am the theater manager for the Newhall Family Theater for the Performing Arts, located at Newhall Elementary School. I would like to thank Mr. Alan Ferdman for inviting me here to speak to the organization. And tonight, what I'm going to go through is a little bit of the history of the organization, of the construction process, as well as the history of the building itself. Talking about what type of things we have currently at the theater and what's coming up in the future, and also introducing you to our new nonprofit that is going to help support the organization and support future programming. So a little bit of the brief history. So the original Newhall Elementary campus was built in the 1920s. The auditorium was described as being a, quote, most beautiful room that in itself give pleasure, end quote. Additionally, the auditorium served as the only public meeting place in Newhall, becoming a defining center of community life and activity. However, on Valentine's Day, 1939, the campus caught fire and had to be rebuilt. The school reopened on May 10, 1940. The nation was just emerging from the Great Depression, and with new federal programs at its disposal that had not existed prior to the New Deal, the school board applied to the Works Projects Administration, or the WPA, to build a school auditorium. WPA workers finished the job in September 1941. The auditorium held 460 chairs on sloped flooring, had an orchestra pit, an upstairs projection room with a film vault, and again, Newhall School would become a community gathering place as patrons assembled in the auditorium for movies, plays, and special events. The structure that stands today is essentially the same as when it was completed in 1941. By the 1970s, as the city and the school district continued to grow, the need for additional school campuses became apparent. However, any available square footage would count against the district. In order to show that they were out of usable space, the district made the decision to strip the auditorium of the seats and most of the theatrical lighting. They turned the space into a warehouse where they stored textbooks, paper, and classroom materials. It remained this way for another 20 years until the Northridge earthquake in 1994. I have fun with PowerPoint, I can't help. After the earthquake, the district staff, along with board members, were inspecting sites for damage. When it was discovered that this warehouse was actually an auditorium, it was decided that the space had to be restored to its original intent. After being able to obtain funding, including a grant, the auditorium was able to be brought up to seismic event codes in the late 1990s. In 2011, the Newhall School District was able to have the community pass a bond measure that would bring additional classroom space, technology upgrades across the district, as well as funding for the renovation of the auditorium. Construction began in March of 2016. By October of 2017, the project was complete. 529 seats were installed. The stage was extended an extra 3 feet from the original proscenium. Acoustic paneling was installed in the theater, a grand curtain was installed, the lobby was redone, all new lights and sound equipment, additional bathrooms were constructed, as well as 2 dressing rooms adjacent to the backstage area. So where are we today? The venue has been utilized for school functions since March of 2018. We hold monthly award ceremonies recognizing students excelling in the classroom. We hold parent meetings, outside assembly programs, promotion ceremonies, music performances by the student groups, and plays put on by the students. After 40+ years, the auditorium has returned to being an asset to the elementary school. In addition to school use, since March of 2018, we've had 13 different community groups come in for performances or events. Some of those organizations include Major Impact Theater, the Santa Clarita Shakespeare Company, the Santa Clarita Valley Youth Orchestra, and the Talk of Santa Clarita. Over those productions, we've had approximately 6,000 people come through the Newhall Family Theater. After being open now for a year and a half, as the saying goes, the sky is the limit with possibilities. We're working on creating a YouTube channel that will feature performing arts-related content, such as a series of theater terminology and history, as well as interviews with adults who work in the industry, specifically those who grew up in Santa Clarita and attended local schools. Some of the artists we intend to interview are Matt Gould. Matt is a Hart High alum, and he is the composer of Witness Uganda, which is currently playing in Beverly Hills, and played off-Broadway in 2015. We're going to be speaking with Daniel Stewart. Daniel is a Saugus High School alum who appeared on Broadway in Deaf West's production of Spring Awakening and can be seen in Catch-22 airing on Hulu in March, which this is a picture from the promo for that. Dan Gilbert is a Hart High alum who is a special effects makeup artist. Daniel Barsky is a Valencia High alum and a Cal Arts alum who is a sound engineer for the Disneyland Resort. Will Davies, a Canyon High alum, is a TV editor and filmmaker. Tim Christensen is a Valencia High alum and is the master electrician for the Disneyland Resort, currently working on Fantasmic. And also we'll be talking with Taylor Kozlowski. Taylor is an Academy of the Canyons alum and is a lightboard operator at the Public Theater in New York. What we're hoping to achieve with these interviews is that it will inspire the next generation to pursue a career in the arts. A lot of times in schools they teach about performance, but they don't teach you about the behind-the-scenes jobs. And really that's where a lot of people end up having their careers, because there's more opportunities for them, it's more consistent work. I myself started off as an actor and now I run a theater. Looking to the future, in April of 2018, we formed a nonprofit organization to help support programming at the theater. The board is comprised of educators, artists, and community members from across the Santa Clarita Valley. I'd now like to bring up our board president, Jen Franco, to share a little bit of information about the organization. Jen?
Hello, I'm Jen Franco, and I'm the president of the new nonprofit here in Santa Clarita called Raising the Curtain Foundation. Our mission is to enhance the Newhall Family Theater for the performing arts, an inclusive performance venue for members of the community, artists, students, and educators. We're lumping everybody in. And we want to connect with the artists among us, and we want you, the members of this diverse community, to be a vital part of a growing and to be a vital part of growing and enjoying a vibrant arts program. We're excited to announce our first year of programming. Our first event is an animation festival. That will be this May. The date is still being nailed down. It will be announced very soon. But at this animation festival, we will feature approximately 20 short films created by students at Cal Arts. The evening will also include a keynote style speaker who within the filming profession or the animation industry. Audience members will also be invited to participate in a Q&A with some of these student filmmakers. And then on October 12th, we will present a live radio play. This is going to be really cool. You definitely need to come to this. It will be an immersive event where the audience will be encouraged to come dressed up in 1920s and 1940s attire. We will have all kinds of themed elements that will go along with the theater, and you'll be invited to come to this Art Deco style theater and have just a great evening with this live performance. A lot of fun. So, to bring the community permanently into our mission, throughout the year we are selling an opportunity to have theater seats or significant aspects of the theater named in perpetuity. Donors will be able to buy the naming of seats or different aspects of the theater, like the stage or dressing rooms. And then a beautiful plaque with their name on it will be permanently affixed to the theater seats or whatever space it is that they've bought to name. And then a large donor wall located in the lobby will identify the companies and individuals who donated to this campaign. This is a sample of what the tiles will look like. It'll be very Art Deco, and it'll be kind of in the shape of the theater seating. Really cool. People will be able to see their names on that wall forever. So the 2019 portion of this campaign is going to culminate at the October live radio play, where the seat placards and the donor wall will be revealed for the first time, and the donors will be thanked publicly. So Raising the Curtain is committed to building relationships with the residents of Santa Clarita through our volunteer program. Our volunteers will help out during our events. They can support fundraising, and they'll be an important part of theater life. We have volunteer opportunities from junior high students to our senior citizens. We want to make this Newhall Family Theater a place that we can all take pride in, whether you're performing there, volunteering with us, or just sitting back and enjoying the show. That's what we're here to do. Thank you.
And so for more information about the theater, as well as a calendar of events as to what's coming into the space, you can visit our website, thenewhallfamilytheater.com, or you can follow us on social media for those of you who have like Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, it is the Newhall Family Theater, and on Instagram, it's Newhall Family Theater _41, the 41 symbolic of when the building was first established. And thus concludes, yes, questions?
You're doing plays. Are they equity waiver? Because your theater's bigger than 99 seats. So
Correct.
How
So
are you getting around it?
Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to really use equity performers because it would be a higher contract for them because it's larger than that 99 seats. And a lot of times you have to pay them, or there are ways that you can go about it. If you use a stage name in AEA, but you go by your legal name. I've seen that done by some actors. But unfortunately, probably with what we're doing, we wouldn't be using actors who are at least part of Actors Equity. If I remember correctly, you may still be able to use SAG-AFTRA, but as far as Actors Equity Association, the main stage union, unfortunately, we probably would not be using those types of performers.
Are any of the actors paid?
No, we would be looking more so of, the volunteers like a community theater where it's just another opportunity, another venue in town for people to perform in.
What about the movie theater? You said that they had a projector. Are they still doing screenings there or what?
We haven't done any screenings as of yet, but we do still have a projection system and got updated. So we do have a state-of-the-art projector, and as Jen was saying, one of the first things we'll be doing is an animation showcase of students from CalArts. So we will be showing that via projection in the space. We've had talks with certain people regarding doing a film festival, bringing something like that back to Santa Clarita, especially with the Laemmle Theater going just right down the street from us. And the nice thing is we have 530 seats. Most of their theaters are going to be 100 or so. So one of the things, I've talked with one of my friends, Will Davies, who I mentioned, who's a filmmaker. He's had the idea of, you could be part of a film festival, do a bigger screening at our space, because it seats so many, you can have your live Q&A and stuff, and then kick off the rest of it down the street at the Laemmle. But obviously we're kind of in a holding pattern until Laemmle's fully built, and then we can sit down with them and talk about, really what we can do to help bring that back to Santa Clarita. It is on my radar, though.
When is Laemmle supposed to be completed?
They broke ground, I believe it was in October that they broke ground, and if I remember correctly, they were hoping to be towards the end of this year. They were saying that construction should take just about a year to complete, 10 to 11 months. So towards the end of the year.
I was just wondering, are you familiar with a lot of the programs that the Pasadena Playhouse does?
I'm familiar enough about them. I do know that they have a lot of classes that they do, that there's a lot of certification programs as well. One of the things that I'm looking to explore as far as that type of programming is concerned is doing a program specific for like high school students, similar to the career readiness programs that they have, but have it specific to tech theater. Give these kids an opportunity to work with professionals, working events that come into the space so that they get that hands-on experience. I know growing up, because I'm a local product, I went to Saugus High, working productions with all of my peers, you're a little bit more relaxed, you don't necessarily take it serious. But coming in, my technicians report directly to me. I have strict, this is how we present ourselves, this is how we carry ourselves, because we have outside groups coming in. So I think that's a very valuable asset for these kids, so that way, again, they kind of know, okay, there's something I can do. Because a lot of times, like I said, in theater, you're taught the performance. A lot of times in theater classes in high school and junior high, you're taught how to perform. They don't always have tech theater classes. But there's always those kids who don't want to be on stage, but they like theater. And there's so much magic, really, in theater and in Cal Arts, because that was what was local, or everything back east. It was years later that I realized that there's programs like UC Irvine has a really good theater program, Cal State Fullerton has a good program, CSUN's gotten a lot better, and it was probably 6 or 7 years after I graduated high school that COC brought in their associate's program, and now you can get an associate's degree in theater from COC, and then you can transfer on to a 4-year school. So we're starting to develop that path, but I think it's still kind of getting lost in the junior high and high school aspect, and that's why we want to bring something in, show these kids what they can do, and set them on that path so by the time they get to senior year, they know the type of schools that they can apply for, they know the type of programs, what to expect in the work environment.
Well, why don't you just continue similar to what Pasadena Playhouse did, where they do have their volunteers? I know it's changed a lot because now they're connected with the Broadway circuit and stuff, but where you have professionals working, I mean, where you're paying your actors.
True. It's something that we can definitely look at down the line. It's just right now very much starting out. We just don't have the funding for that type of stuff, but that's something that as we grow and move forward into the future, that's something that we can definitely look at as we get closer to that. But right now, you know, there's still things, even for holding events, there's certain items that we don't have. Like if I were to have a choir in, I don't have choir risers, I don't have an acoustic shell, because that's just some of the stuff that, you know, wasn't budgeted out, and that's some of the stuff that we're raising money for so that we can hold different types of events, and then also that way, yeah, we can enter into contracts with working professionals and pay them and compensate them for their time.
You don't have to necessarily go with equity. You could, there are ways, because you are a nonprofit, there are ways you can like sign a deal with SAG-AFTRA. They'll sign a contract with anybody. And get professional actors, but it's not under the equity banner. Where you're
Right.
a nonprofit, you can kind of circumvent that.
Right, it's something, again, we haven't fully looked into it quite yet, but it's something that we can definitely look into as we start to develop our programming and see what different avenues we can have. Because a big thing too is we do want to also focus on the kids and giving them opportunities to perform. Because
What greater way than to work with professionals?
true. No, and I totally understand
they're going to go on
that.
a set or on a stage and, you know.
Right, but there is also something to be said for those who aren't necessarily professionals. Again, I've been doing theater for 25 years, and I didn't necessarily always work with professional actors. And I got a lot of that.
Most of them don't act professionally. But
Well, that's what I'm saying, and you know, but I learned a lot of valuable lessons and a lot of valuable techniques from people who weren't necessarily professional actors, but were really talented performers. So there's pros and cons to both sets. Yes, ma'am.
Your junior high and high school program sounds something like the culinary program at COC. So you want to be a chef, but yes, you have to do every aspect of getting the meal together, serving,
Right.
bussing tables, taking the plates out, everything. So that seems like, so you want to be an actor. Well, yeah, you know, these are things that ushers do, and lighting people and sound and stuff like that. So they're well-rounded.
Exactly.
And I thought I wanted to be an actor, but gosh, you know, I really love mucking with the sound.
And that was, you know, the case with a lot of those people that I mentioned, the people that we'd be talking to. They started off as actors, growing up doing either high school shows or, you know, community theater, and then they got a chance to be trained by someone who was a professional lighting designer, or they went to Boston University and started studying music. And then they kind of found that path, but it does start a lot of times with being an actor. Myself, you know, I started off as an actor. I was a lighting designer. I've been a lighting designer for 15 years. I've worked as a vocal director. I've worked as a director. I've kind of done everything under the sun as far as the theater is concerned. And I feel that's very beneficial when I am an actor because I understand what technicians are going through. And you don't have those diva moments that you hear a lot of times that actors create on set or backstage with technicians. Technicians are the same way. They look at divas as actors as divas, and they're super emotional and stuff, and it's like you don't know what we're going through to prepare and to present what we're doing. So I feel like something like this, you know, you give those kids an opportunity to learn all those aspects so that whatever avenue they choose, they are well-rounded and that they can succeed a lot better and, you know, in the end, get a career and, you know, be able to sustain themselves. Yeah.
That's exactly how the Playhouse started, though, Pasadena. And
Right.
So, I mean, I think I would look at their own formula.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. It's been one of those that's been on my radar. I've looked at stuff, especially because it is right down the street from us, really. It's not a far drive, but it is worth looking into. So thank you for that information. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you, and I hope to see some of you guys at the theater. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, we are on social media. We do have our website. All my contact information is available on that as well. So thank you.